Hello and welcome to my channel. Stop. Hello and welcome to my channel, Inner Journey with Meditation. I'm Doris. I'm actually trying to introduce myself in these videos. In today's video, I noticed I was editing my videos and I'm always hitting my lap, clapping my hands. Just know that's what it is. I'm trying to emphasize my point. In today's video, I want to talk about the inner being a little bit more. I've made a video on this already, but when I watched it, I mean, it's there on the website. It's just listening to it again, I just felt afterwards, and even before I listened to it, I just felt that there was something missing, that I haven't said enough, that I hadn't made it clearer, you know. In that video, I talked about the inner you in relation to your inner being was about this big, you know, 4 foot tall, and then your inner being was perhaps 100 times more energetically, that is not physically, energetically more than you, and then your higher self was trying to just give you the magnitude of energy, and this is relative, and I was trying to use numbers that made sense. I didn't want to say your higher self was infinity, you know, that doesn't make a lot of sense. So anyway, and I've also done a graphic design. I'm not a graphic designer, you will notice. I've done a graphic illustration, a visual illustration. I've put that on the website. I probably might add it to this video, you know, where you'll see there's me, the inner being, there's the higher self, and I've drawn the higher self as a person, a physical person. Your higher self is not a physical person, please. It's just to keep things simple. I'm trying to show the magnitude energetically, because you are energy, inner being is energy, the higher self is energy, and they're all still you. It's just you, the you energy, the conscious you energy is expressing itself in this physical form, physical body, and I've chosen this. So you choose your body. The other parts, your inner being, your higher self, are still energy. You know, they still remain as energy, but they are still tied to you. So why did I want to explain again what is an inner being? It just seems like such a tricky concept to get your head round. So I've decided to use a parent and child analogy. And I'm hoping this might be a little clearer. I might have other examples that comes through, and I might do other videos. But for this video, I want to use a parent and child analogy. So imagine that this you is the conscious you I'm talking about, is a toddler, say 3 years old or so, and that you are playing with you are in a room excuse me, you are in a room playing with a train set. I'm being sexist. Barbie doll, whichever. Choose a toy, but it's you playing by yourself in this room with train set or Lego. The thing is, in that same room there is a parent. Your parent is there in the same room with you. The thing is, you don't know that you have a parent, and you don't know that you, the child doesn't know that they have a parent, and the child doesn't know that the parent is there with them in that room, right? Now, I'm going to flip the vantage point. Now, imagine that you are the parent, not as the parent, you know that that child doesn't know that you're there. As the parent, you're sitting perhaps in a sofa watching them play with their toys, have difficulties trying to fix their toys, use the train set up and down the roller coaster. The path is, the train tracks is broken and they're trying to fix it. As a parent, you watch this child have friends come over and they interact with the friends and they have experiences and fun and laughter and cry with the friends. But that child still doesn't know that you're there. And it's been like this throughout, since the child was born. The child doesn't know that you're there. Now, as a parent, as that parent sitting in that room with them, you also have, as you do of children, you also have a broader view. I'm not saying you can see your children's future, but your inner being can actually see your future. You know, they can. But you can, as a parent, you know that when a child is making mistakes and what they should and shouldn't do, and how they try to figure things out and learn for themselves. You know at least you know more than a child, so you're able to say, oh, they're going well, and this is going to be good for them, and this is not going to be good for them. You know, I'm speaking as an adult to a child, as an adult that knows more than a child, and therefore you're able to educate a child. But from the perspective of your inner being, and I'm saying that that's an analogy of someone that knows more than you, right? It's almost like a parent-child. You love this child more than anything. You always look at this child with pure love. That's how your inner being looks at you, with pure love all the time. So your inner being knows more about your life more than you do as a physical parent to a physical child. So as a physical parent and a physical child, you know how a child learns, how babies learn, you know, they play games and then they learn. You know that because experience has taught you a lot of things. But between the inner being and you, between your inner being and you, it's actually more than that. It's not experience has thought your inner being that this is going to happen or not going to happen. Is that your inner being has a broader view of your life. Your inner being can see when you're heading for a train wreck, and usually can see a shorter route for you to get to a destination more than you can, more than you have even conceived even. Your inner being knows you're trying to calculate some massive computerized information. It's keeping you awake all night and doing that. Well, if you just ask me, I'll just tell you the answer. That a little bit like that. Your inner being knows what you need before you even ask for it. So it's interesting because a lot of the time you do ask and your inner being does answer, but you're probably not hearing or listening or looking at where they are. So if we go back to the parent and child analogy, that parent knows that the child doesn't know that they're there. But that parent still communicates with the child. But because the child doesn't know that they're there, the parent has to be careful in what they say or do or present to the child and how they present it to the child. So think about it. You're a parent. You know there's a child. If you so much as say, boo, they'll jump. Oh, what's that? They'll be scared. Their fears and their beliefs, usually from how they've been raised in that particular time. That. So you wouldn't do anything to make them frightened. That's the first thing. Also, your inner being cannot manipulate physical stuff. Their energy, they're not gonna bang the cupboard. They can't bang the cupboard. Maybe they'll blow. Oh, they can't bang the cupboard and make you jump. No. So can you see, if you're a parent and you're trying to make the child not see sense, but just navigate life, you will probably just do things in very subtle manner. You might even be right there and just make him see something just subtle. They might even, and it will be it will usually be in things in nature. Usually, I remember. I'm trying to finish one conversation. I'm trying to finish one train of thought before another one jumps in. I just remember that early on in my journey, I used to notice a robin, and I decided this robin was my friend. It was always on the fence outside the kitchen every morning, and it just seemed a coincidence. Every morning I opened the window, the robin would be there singing, and I would always say hello. It was just something I paid attention to, but I decided that robin was something special to me, not to everybody else, just to me. And I decided that, oh, hello, there you go again. You're, Peter the robin, good morning. It's just something small, something simple. But I remember there was one day that I was listening to music. I also love music. And because I always look, how do I explain this? So I always noticed this robin, and I decided that this robin was special to me, right? Because this robin is always coming to say hello to me. That's what I thought to myself. And the more I grew in my development with my inner being, this is even before I knew I had an inner being, but hadn't really made a full connection. But I was noticing subtle changes in nature. I was, I was appreciating music. I loved music. And I was listening to, who was I listening to? A particular music. Can't remember his name now. But there was just it was such a subtle change at a particular moment in time. At a particular moment in time, I was doing something in the kitchen. I think I was chopping onions. tomatoes. I was making food preparation of some sort, and music was playing. It was an album was playing, and I must have listened to this album several times, but just for a split, not a split second, it was a split moment in time, I looked out the window, I noticed this robin, and I sort of smiled and just thought to myself, hello Robin, as I normally do. But at that moment in time, the music changed to the most beautiful song that I have heard. And it was probably a love song to somebody the artist was playing it to. But at that moment, and it wasn't a very long song, it was like a minute and a half or so, the song talked about how special I was, or that was the song that was playing. But at that moment, it was like that particular track that came on felt like it was directed to me. And I was elevated. I looked out, I saw my robin, the music track changed, and my attention suddenly switched to this amazing piece of music that talked about how amazing I was. And I knew that my inner being was talking to me. Right, yeah, so why did I tell you that story? It's because I wanted to share an example of communication with your inner being. Intuitively, you just know. And if you're expecting it, when I say expecting it, if you know who you are communicating with, if you know, because I decided I have an inner being, my inner being is around. I just wasn't sure where my inner being was. So I kind of suddenly ask a question that I feel I should answer now. So I sort of don't know where my inner being was. And the thing is, your inner being is, I say that your inner being is with you always, but your inner being is in your mind with you. And what I've done is I've suddenly realized that I'm not the only one in my mind. Makes me sound like I'm going crazy. The voices are telling me stuff. It's not that. It's knowing that actually there's more to my mind than the me that I think occupies my mind. If you imagine that the mind is like a nursery, kindergarten, nursery, preschool. Over here in the UK, if you go to a nursery, a kid's nursery, they have stations for activities. So you have the construction station or construction corner. You have the reading corner. You have you have a corner for playing dress up, just different stages or stations for the children to play. And actually, the children, if I say that the children, take one child in that nursery, is you, the conscious you, and those stations that you play at is actually the stations that you play at is your emotions. Because a lot of people a lot of people, I don't want to talk about what a lot of people would say. When people say you are experiencing that emotion, so instead of the construction station, it might be the angry station, happy station. You, as the child, you are what is called the awareness, right? So the child moves from one station, construction station, to the pretend play station corner, to the reading corner, to the, moves around in that environment. The child, if the child is the awareness, which is the conscious you. See, I'm interchanging you and the awareness and the child, because your people are very much aware of, when they meditate, you're aware of your feelings and your thoughts, that you are not you. Sorry, not you are not you. You are not the thought or the feeling. You can just observe it. So be aware of that. Be aware of the physical side. Be aware of the emotional side. You are the awareness. I can take you from being happy to being sad. I can take you from you being the awareness. You can go from being you being the awareness, being the child in the nursery. You can go from playing with the construction set in the construction corner to the reading corner, to the dress up corner. This is how the child moves around the room of the mind. The difference with me is, and my understanding is that I noticed that the mind doesn't just have me and those emotions, those stations. I think that's my phone. The mind doesn't just contain me and those emotional states or physical states. The mind also contains the teachers. Therefore, I have been able to, if you like, turn backwards or turn around, if so to speak, and notice, like, there's a teacher in here, and that teacher knows more than I do. I am aware of my inner being in my mind. Have I confused you even more? I hope not. It's just when I say, where is the inner being? Where do you look? And I'm trying to say to you is, your inner being is part of your mind, is part of your psyche. Is it part of your psyche? Your inner being is part of your psyche. And therefore you're never alone. You're never alone. You just have to learn to communicate with that part of your psyche. And that part of your psyche is only a small part. You are expressed in this, body. But there's a part of you that is invisible, that's outside of your body, an energetic part. In fact, the part of you inside your body is also energy, but because you is the word relate, you relate so much with your physical self that every time you think of you think of your physical self, you think of your hands, and you think of, but it's me. But I'm talking about the you in your head, the conscious you. I'm talking about the conscious you in your head. That conscious you in your head is energy. And it's such a huge amount of energy that there's only a small part that can really enter the body. Only a small part can reside within the body. The bigger part of you is outside the body. I talked about an onion, I think, in one of my other videos. I'm hoping that helps. This video was meant to help you understand what your inner being is. You are the outer being, you have an inner being. You as the outer being is a very small energy. You have an inner being that's a much bigger energy and that can help you through this life. Your inner being is within you as well as around you. You can't see them. It's simultaneous, which takes some getting your head round. Your inner being is always, always, always with you. Always. Always. Your inner being is always with you. So think about all the things that you've been doing that you think you're by yourself doing it alone. Nope. Your inner being is there with you, observing you, thinking, oh my days, really? Anyway, thank you for watching this video. See you again in the next video.